In 2001, Zelensky, then still a comedian, went to Moscow to perform and happened to meet Putin, who came to watch the show. Excited, he shouted to Putin from the stage, "Mr. Putin, take me with you. Think of it as paying off Ukraine's debt." The whole audience burst into laughter. After the performance, Putin went on stage to shake hands with the performers. Zelensky seized the opportunity again to express his admiration, saying, "You're my idol. I can't believe this is real, that I actually get to meet you." No one at that time could have imagined that this devoted fan of Putin would one day become his fiercest critic in the world. Years passed. At the Davos Forum 23 years later, Zelensky, now president of Ukraine, viciously cursed Putin from afar, declaring, "In this life and the next, Putin and his descendants shall never know peace nor rest." He even said that he would assassinate Putin if ever given the chance. So the question arises, what happened to make Zelensky's attitude toward Putin change so drastically? How did he go from idolizing Putin to becoming his sworn enemy? And how did this comedian-turned-president go further and further down the road of attacking Putin? As everyone knows, before becoming Ukraine's leader, Zelensky was a comedian. In 1997, while still a university student, he was invited by the Ukrainian entertainment program KVN to form a comedy troupe called Kvartal 95 with its members, serving as actor, captain, and scriptwriter. Thanks to his handsome looks and remarkable comedic talent, Zelensky soon became the backbone of the troupe. After graduating with a law degree, he chose to stay in the entertainment industry. Under his leadership, Kvartal 95 developed rapidly, established its own studio, and signed with Ukraine's national TV channel, expanding its influence. Zelensky himself became widely known through shows like Dancing with the Stars and City Lovers, becoming a household name across Ukraine. During this period, his attitude toward Russia was still quite friendly. He often led his team to Moscow to perform, sometimes even with Putin personally attending the shows. In 2013, on Russia's Grand New Year's Eve TV program Blue Light Night, Zelensky sang a New Year's song full of energy and charisma. However, the 2014 Crimean incident became a turning point. After the pro-Russian President Yanukovych was overthrown in early 2014, Crimea fell into turmoil. The call for separation and joining Russia grew stronger. Although Crimea was part of Ukraine, most residents were ethnic Russians, while Ukrainians were the minority. Thus, the movement to return to Russia became especially powerful. On March 16, 2014, Crimea held a referendum. 96.6% of votes supported joining the Russian Federation. Putin immediately signed a presidential decree recognizing Crimea as an independent sovereign state. This move enraged Ukrainians, who saw Russia's annexation of Crimea as naked aggression. Anti-Russian sentiment exploded across the nation. A year later, Zelensky starred in the TV series Servant of the People, which became a turning point in his life. Unlike typical comedians who rely on cheap jokes, Zelensky and his team's works were known for their sharp political satire. In Servant of the People, Zelensky played a grassroots teacher named Vazhya who unexpectedly becomes president. His main rival was a powerful world leader obsessed with territorial expansion, an obvious caricature of Putin. The show depicted this leader as a dictator and an ambitious liar who even steals land from others' pockets. It was not hard to see that the show was a veiled criticism of Putin's Crimea policy. The series became a massive hit in Ukraine, making Zelensky one of the country's most influential entertainers. Unexpectedly, the line between fiction and reality began to blur. Many Ukrainians started to believe that Zelensky himself was presidential material. For most actors, being tied to a fictional character could harm their careers. But Zelensky was different. He truly believed he could be president. In 2017, he registered the Servant of the People Party, signaling his entry into politics. By late 2018, he was already one of the top presidential contenders, even though he hadn't officially announced his candidacy. Then, on December 31, 2018, during a televised New Year's greeting, Zelensky finally declared that he would run for president of Ukraine. A comedian running for president seemed surreal, but what followed was even more unbelievable. Within a month, Zelensky's approval ratings surpassed that of incumbent President Petro Poroshenko and veteran politician Yulia Tymoshenko. He became the front-runner. On April 23, 2019, the Central Election Commission announced that Zelensky had won with 73.22% of the votes, crushing Poroshenko's 24.45%. The comedian president had pulled off a stunning upset. From campaign to presidency, Zelensky initially advocated repairing relations with Russia, avoiding bloodshed, and resolving disputes through peaceful dialogue. At that time, he still hoped for reconciliation between Russia and Ukraine. But that dream quickly collapsed when Putin's government refused to make any concessions on Crimea. Zelensky found himself performing a one-man show on the global stage. Full of effort, but with little applause, only ridicule from all sides. As time went on, his lack of experience began to show. Ukrainians grew disappointed with his ineffective reforms. His attempts to negotiate ceasefires in eastern Ukraine angered both the military and right-wing groups. By early 2021, only 12% of Ukrainians strongly supported escalated. Tens of thousands of troops massed along the border. The war became inevitable. Years later, the first bullet fired still echoes on Ukrainian soil, with no end in sight. On January 15, 2024, Zelensky arrived in Davos, Switzerland, to attend the World Economic Forum. There, he publicly cursed Putin and his descendants, including his daughters and grandchildren, saying they would never rest in peace. This was not the first time Zelensky had commented on Putin's health. Shortly after the war began, he told reporters that if Vladimir Putin died, all of Moscow's operations would collapse, and the war would soon end. Beyond verbal attacks, Zelensky also sought to delegitimize the Soviet legacy, fueling greater hostility toward Russia. removed again.